Morning. It is April 6th, 2026, and Lent is over. I am on my way to a coffee shop to get my first cup of coffee in 46 days. I fasted from coffee and from social media. I avoided caffeine the entire time. I did not avoid social media the entire time. And that's another conversation for another day, I think, working through the emotions I had because social media, honestly, probably even more than literally anything else in this world, is my biggest temptation, because I love it. I love to be on it. I love to doom scroll. I love to distract myself. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Caffeine. Where do I even begin? Frankly, the cutting out was really, really easy. I went cold turkey. I didn't I didn't even give it a second thought. I was at a point where I was drinking so much coffee and I don't know, I was addicted to it and really, really dependent on it to improve my mood when I was at work, or it was like a big comforter for me, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I was just at the point where my sleep was horrible. I wasn't ever fully deeply sleeping at night. I was waking up and having dreams all the time, and I knew it was because I just had this surplus of caffeine in my system all the time, and I knew it was bad. I knew that I needed to make a change. And I had been talking with my friend Kirsten, and she talked about wanting to do Lent, and I had been thinking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, but I don't know what I'm going to give up. And she was like, I'm giving up coffee and social media. And I was like, those are, yeah. I was like, I hear you, Lord. Those are the two things that I know I need to give up. Yeah, the cutting out was really easy. My first week, my withdrawals were crazy. The first 2 days were insane headaches. And then every night for the middle of the week into the next week, I woke up at 3 in the morning every single day for 6 days straight. That was an experience. That definitely got me frustrated because I work and I have to be up so early, and those last few hours before I have to be up at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, those are precious. A barista knows. If you're a barista, you know waking up that early before your shift. Woo! It's rough. But then on the weekends or the days when I didn't have to be at work early, it was really, really nice to get up that early to see the sunrise. I started running. I signed up for that relay like I mentioned in my last video. I really enjoyed getting up, not at 3. That was rough, but then later on after that, I would wake up really easily at 5 in the morning. And I was like, let me start making my juices for the day. Let me go for a run while the sun rises. And that was really nice. I felt like I had a major high in my nervous system and in my mental health those first weeks, because my body was like, we've not existed without caffeine motivating and propelling you forward for years. So it was definitely really, really good. I would say my first 3 weeks, I felt incredible. I felt like a different person. I was able to get through my shifts at work relatively easily. There were a few days, those first few weeks, that felt like I'm gonna die. I literally I can't not have a cup of coffee. But I got through it, and it was easy the first month. And then it was also easier to give up the craving to God that first month. I definitely felt like in those first few weeks, those moments where I was at work and I really wanted a cup of coffee and I just was craving it so bad, my prayer was, Lord, I'm giving this up for you. I want to be closer to you. You are my energy. You are my sustenance. You are my motivator. Help me to get through this craving and to depend on you. Did I pray those words specifically every time? No, it was usually more like Lord, you're my energy. Help me. I can't, because I'd be at work and I wouldn't be able to think about it for that long. But yeah, the first few weeks felt great. Really good. Maintaining my attitude was a little bit harder, I would say, just because, well, you know what? Here's what happened. I got sick 2 weeks before Lent ended. And when I get sick, I get really grumpy. Guilty as charged. Like, I should not be that way, but I am. And so my attitude did start to get poorer as time went on. And I don't know. I remember people during my last week and a half in particular would ask me, how's fasting going? And I would just be like, I can't wait for my first cup of coffee. I'm so excited for my first cup of coffee. And it was just this, like, as I would say it, I was like, Michaela, what are you talking about? Like, it's not been that hard. Like, why are you, like, yearning for this thing so bad? Like, wanting the flavor so bad. It wasn't even the caffeine. It was the flavor. Like, that was my default answer. I'm really thinking about that first cup of coffee is what I kept saying. Rather than, like, stilling myself and being like, okay, how do I actually want to be feeling during the last leg of Lent? Like, do I want to be, like, just, like, pushing myself, forcing myself to go through it so I can get to that last cup of coffee? Or am I fasting for intimacy with my Creator? So that was a little rough. I will say that I didn't finish well, I don't think, as far as my attitude goes. I didn't drink any coffee for the whole 46 days, and I am pleased with that, and I'm grateful. And this isn't me beating myself over the head, but my attitude was bad. And yes, I made it through. I didn't drink any caffeine. Literally any caffeine. I did have one Diet Dr. Pepper at Aries' house, and that might have had caffeine in it. But other than that, I did not have a sip of caffeine, and I did it imperfectly. I sacrificed my caffeine and my coffee, but I drank a lot more, like, steamers with, like, sugary sauces in them, and I had way more hot cocoa and whatever than I think I've ever drank in my life. But those weren't things that I was fasting from, but it was still like a sugary type thing, I guess. The point is not to be hard on yourself. The point is to throw yourself before God's love and ask Him to be gracious and to carry you through. And I would say my last 2 days of Lent, I did a much better job. That's not what I'm trying to say, but my last 2 or 3 days, I think the Lord redeemed the time, and His hand is all over it, and He was good to me throughout all of it. But those last 3 days were particularly special because I was surrounded by the church. I was surrounded by my sisters in Christ in particular, and yeah, just feeling really thankful. Easter Sunday was great. Met with some girls at the coffee shop across the street and read scripture together and prayed. And then we went and we celebrated Jesus' resurrection together, dying to remove the things that keep us away from Him. I'm extremely grateful for this experience. I'm extremely grateful for my friend Kirsten for motivating me and also being accountability for me. She did a great job. And I had a lot of friends who I think were praying for me and checking on me. And I know my mom was also doing fasting, not specifically for Lent, but she was still fasting. And so it was kind of fun talking with her and Dad about fasting. There were some low lows, I will say. There were some low lows. And usually those lows came when I was making it about me, and when I was making it about my ability or my goodness or my praise. It is about me in as much as, or insofar, is that how you say it? Yes, it was about me insofar as, in as much, okay. Yes, it was about me in as much as it's my relationship with God that I'm worrying about, or that I'm focusing on. But it wasn't like, I'm not the best faster in the world, you know. Moving forward, I'm gonna go back into drinking caffeine way slow. Today I had my first cup, which I will talk about now. My first cup of coffee after Lent. The kind barista with long ginger hair waited patiently as I stared at the digital menu screen, seeing letters and numbers but not comprehending my choices. Latte, double shot, macchiato, black tea. I don't want something too strong, but I want to taste my coffee. I want something warm and comforting and a little sweet, but not too sweet. Okay. I stare and I stare. Then I sheepishly return to the register and ask for a single shot hot latte with their homemade vanilla syrup. She delivers it to me in a white mug. A pretty heart design rests in the foam on top. I snap a photo of it. I pause, just observing it, almost scared to take a sip, until I do. And then I sip and I sip. Delicious. I think of all the moments during Lent when a cup of coffee was the only thing on my mind. Those moments at work when I hit a wall at 9:30 and felt like my feet were bricks and my head was in a gray cloud. This is delicious. Those slow mornings with nothing but a mug of hot water in my hands. Worth the wait. Worth the fasting, I think. This is amazing. Oh, I love it. Good job. No, I don't think so. No, it's so good. Thank you so much. I'm also drinking this way too fast. Also, just want to say, if you guys want to hear about my experience fasting from media, let me know, and I will post a video about that too. It was a very different experience.
Like an idiot, I had my espresso latte. Okay, so like, it wasn't that big of a deal because it was just a single shot, but I haven't had breakfast. So there's a grill next to the place that I got my coffee at, and I got a croissant breakfast sandwich. Nobody freak out. Except for me, I just started salivating. You guys, I gotta be honest, today has been a good day so far. And all I've done is sit around, journal, read my Bible, thank God for my blessings, and have coffee. And now a breakfast sandwich, so too blessed to be stressed. Let's give it a shot. Scrambled eggs, mayo on a croissant with crispy bacon. Pepper jack cheese. Bruh. That's really good. Holy smokes. The people in there were really nice. 3 of them came up to me and asked me what my order was without realizing the first person or the person before them came. So that was kind of funny. But this is so good. Holy smokes. Maybe I'm just really hungry, but this is really good.